Fast Forward Productions. The women are speaking.
Hollei, welcome to Becoming Obsessed. I am so excited to have you on. As soon as we actually got to meet IRL at the airport in Cancun, it has been so much fun to get to know you more. So everyone, Hollei and I are in the Scale with Purpose mastermind together, both women scaling our businesses, but doing it in a way that fits our life and our lifestyle instead of just trying to make $1 million for the sake of the number itself. And we got to hang out in Mexico for a few days. And I'm really excited to introduce you all to Hollei. So she is the owner and powerhouse behind Hollei Anne Design Co, which provides trending art and design that's seen at retailers like Target, HomeGoods, Hallmark. Follow her on Instagram because I promise you it is some of the cutest stuff. She has spent over 10 years honing her craft and learning the design industry inside out by working with Fortune 500 corps, collaborating with brands like Toys R Us and Skip Hop, and now she's all in pursuing her passion as a surface and product designer. Her creative studio is where she dedicates her efforts to providing trending art and design and to elevate product collections and brand identities for entrepreneurial women in retail, specifically in home goods, stationery, and gift and textile industries. So I am so excited to have her on because Hollei is also a mother. And where I'm not a mother, I know mothers. And I know that running a business is hard enough without a little one around your feet. So I'm really excited to hear how you're balancing it all, how you are actively growing, you're actively scaling, you're looking to improve that side, but how are we balancing to know that it's enough? We don't have to do everything all the time, and you can use it to spend more time with your daughter. So I'm really excited to get into this. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Teresa.
Yeah, let's just kick it off. And I want to hear a little bit more about that. Of like, what is it like balancing being a business owner and being a mother?
Sure. Yeah. When you're saying a little one around your feet, quite literally, it is sometimes. And so that's why one of the biggest things we did, my husband and I, we both work from home, but as a business owner, there's so many things going on. So we made sure she's in school and she's cared for. It's important for her to be in school and learn and everything like that while I'm maintaining my business. And yeah, you say about like what's enough and just like, you know how it is being a business owner. It's like you feel like you can never get enough done. And on the flip side, like being a mother, like it feels the same. Like it feels like you're not giving enough. But as long as like my daughter is in school, I pick her up, I drop her off, she gets fed, like that is enough. And everybody's okay. But yeah, it's just been great being able to delegate those things that like she's in school and then also my parents take her. So like being able to delegate and saying like, oh, to my husband, can you pick her up so I can have a meeting or whatever? It's really about that balance of like being able to delegate, but also just that focus on business and motherhood. It is a lot. It is a lot.
And I love that you're saying like delegate, like even in your household, like delegating. And it's like kind of like funny, except I love hearing you say it because it really is just delegating is asking for help. Like obviously I don't have kids, but on the internet, we're always talking about how it's like so hard to ask for help, whether you are a mother or it's in your business or from your friends. We used to have this more like village mentality where everybody does kind of help out. And I think we moved so much to being like, I'm not going to pick you up from the airport. Or there's that meme that's like, we're 30 now. We don't want to help you move for pizza and beer. It was like this whole meme that we're all like, yeah, we're all too old to do that. But in reality, it's like moving away from that community aspect, which is so important for anyone. But I think especially to your point, like being a mom and being a parent, like being able to ask for help, having that support system is so powerful.
Yeah. And being able to delegate and for instance, like being able to go on that retreat with you girls, like that is so important for me. That's so important for my business. And, I have to be able to balance like what is a good investment of my time and for my business as well as what's good for her. So, I have to be my best self and be my best for her. So having my business and having my passion is a key part of who I am. And I think sometimes as like mothers, we lose ourselves and you forget, like, you're so entwined, especially in that first year of your baby growing up, you forget like who you are. And that's why my business is so important to me, because it's always been my passion. I've always been a creative person. And as you can see, I have like 10 years of experience in design. So it's something I'm really passionate about. So I made sure that it's an equal importance in my life, because it's a part of my being and a part of who I am. But yes, having the community around allowed me to go to this retreat. And then again, like with the community, like being around you girls, and like I'm with my toddler and my husband most of the time. So being around you girls was so refreshing, and being around like-minded women who are all focused on their business, it just like lit a spark in me to be even more passionate about what's going on in my business.
So I did an episode, which you know, about my takeaways from the retreat. And since we're talking about the retreat, I'm really curious what some of your, even like, I want to say biggest takeaways, but big, small, just some of those takeaways that you've kind of been thinking about since we left.
Yeah. So during the retreat, I felt like I really honed in on who my audience is. So my past experience has been in the advertising and marketing space for graphic design. So I used to do 360-degree campaigns with print advertisements, emails, social media, all of that, all of like the encompassing of a campaign. And I used to do campaign concepting, but I've always had a real deep passion for surface design and product design and illustration. So that's part of the reason why I really started my business, is because I was still doing that heavy graphic design work in my full-time corporate job, but then I was veering into this passion of the illustration surface design on the side. And then it just kind of transitioned into this is my full time. So when I was on the retreat, I was really thinking about how do I really think about my services and really provide that unique service that I'm providing to some of my clients, but offer it to even a wider audience. So I really narrowed down who my audience is, what my services are, and I'm just really excited because it helps me deliver a clearer and concise communication for marketing. And it's just like changed everything. I've created kind of like a visual map of like who my audience is, what I'm speaking to them about, and what that leads into as far as my services. And it's just been really exciting. I feel like I've just really clarified and solidified, and kind of like you were saying, Teresa, like your North Star, like I feel like I've really found clarity in like what my North Star is, which is just my audience basically and who I'm talking to. But another thing that happened during the retreat, and you remember, we did that guided meditation where Shay really talked to us about this little tree, and like we were planting seeds and a garden around it. And what did that look like? And for me, because I'm a mom, I just immediately thought of my daughter. And, you know, she's my reason why. She's my reason why I do everything for my business, is because I want to provide that example for her. And also I need to fulfill my passion too, so I could be my best version of myself for her. So it really came like full circle, and I just got a lot of clarity in the retreat.
I love that we're getting to kind of hear like the full circle from like, okay, corporate to starting to now really taking that next step in your business. And I want to jump to the beginning a little bit in the spirit of this season, talking about what is enough. In some ways, it's like, how do we balance those seasons where we need to hustle hard versus the ones where we don't want to get trapped hustling too hard? And I haven't spent much time in corporate America, but you have.
It's an interesting place.
I want to know, and maybe it's a little bit of like what it was like to try to balance when you were in corporate America for anyone listening now, or some of that where it's like, okay, how is that transition? You talked about you started doing illustration and surface and product design on the side and then moved it full time. So if we were speaking to our corporate girlies right now, Like, what was that experience like for you being corporate, trying to balance your life, trying to then balance a side project that turned into its own business?
Yeah, that's so interesting. And I feel like I actually do have a lot of people that approach me about corporate business because maybe they haven't been in it before. But I really feel like it really laid the foundation for me for how to kind of build my own business because I learned so much of the back end of like email communication, how to get people to sign on to a concept and things like that. It's like the same thing that you would do with a client. So I didn't think I wanted to own my own business until I've been in a position where I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. Like, you don't know what you want until you are in a position of, I don't want this. And there's a lot of like politics. There's a lot of hands at the top, and then you're kind of like trickled down. So it's hard to really get your
Almost like your vision. You're like, I have an idea for this. And it's like, well, it didn't get approved at the top who isn't watching or didn't see it.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think like when you're in a corporate job, you're working for that brand. So you're really following like those brand guidelines, and it can be monotonous at some times because you can't create like a new look and feel and stuff. So I'm just a very like, I like to work on a lot of different things. I like to explore a lot of different things. So I just started doing that on the side. And it is really hard when you have a full-time job and you're working 40 hours and you're trying to climb the ladder, so to say, and at the same time trying to do your own thing on the side. But what I would do is just, I would leave work at work. So my 8 to 5, and then I would come home, try to work out, eat dinner, and then work on, my side hustle or whatever that was. And it is a lot of work, but obviously it paid off for me. And now I have my own business. And it's not to say that owning your own business is easy either, but if you're passionate enough about it, you'll make the time and you'll want to grow your business in that way.
Do you think that your time in corporate being like, okay, I'm leaving work at work has helped you to maybe balance how much you work in your business? I know we always joke we leave our 9 to 5 to work a 24-hour shift, but so often I'm like never off the clock, which is my own fault. Like, I just don't have that skill set all the time, like honed in where I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave it at work. Like, closing my laptop is hard sometimes.
Yeah, I do think that it helped me with that because I've seen that with other people that I worked with. So I was able to practice what I saw. When I was in corporate, I was working really late when I probably should have been at home working more on my business. But once I started getting really serious about it, I was like, okay, I've done my job. I've done my 8 to 5. Like, I'm going to practice what I'm seeing other people doing, which other people that were doing it had kids and stuff. So at the time, I didn't have kids, but they had kids. So they had to, like, I'm done for the day. I have to focus on something else. So I kind of just practiced what I was seeing and was like, okay, well, I'm done with my 8 to 5 too. And I'm going to work on my little side hustle. And that's kind of how I did. But yeah, I do really feel like that's helped me kind of balance my time. I feel like there's a lot of pros of working in corporate. There's just a lot that you learn about business. There's a lot that you learn about, how many people it takes to complete a campaign, everything that goes behind it, all the different roles that now I'm playing all those roles. Whereas like I was part of a team of like 50 people and there was a photographer and a photographer's assistant, and you know what I mean? So it's good to know like all the roles. And then it also helps me in my business to be like, wow, I'm doing a lot. Like I have all these hats that were once or are somebody's job.
I've been listening to a lot of James Wedmore. I don't even know the name of his business. I think it's like Business by Design or something like that. But he's incredible. I absolutely adore what he puts out. He has a workshop going on right now, and I was listening to it. And you said something that reminded me of what he said, which is when you build a business, you're not building a job, but so many of us treat it like a job where it's like, I have to do all of these things and I have to be the one to do them and I have to be the best at doing them or whatever. And it's all about like what I can accomplish in a 8 to 5. But when you build a business, you're building a thing that is supposed to have multiple roles. And to your point, it's like, yeah, I've seen people do this same type of project using 50 people, including a photographer, an assistant, and a director, and all of these things. And now I'm doing all of that. And so in some ways, like you're saying, you can give yourself grace and be like, yeah, look at how much I am doing instead of being like, oh, I should be fulfilling 40 more people's roles because that's what they do in corporate, or that's what I see these other people doing, even though it's just me, or maybe I have a small team.
And also, like, from my perspective of being with 50 plus people, it's like the amount of freedom and the amount of like just like confidence that you can have as one person should make you feel super proud. Like when there's like 40 people on a team, there's just so many opinions going around and like it's like whisper down the alley. Like your idea can turn into a completely different being. So like owning your own business, like you have more control of that and you can really deliver on what you think is the best. Like you're the expert. So there's a lot of like, yeah, you should feel really proud of that.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. We talked like maybe to the corporate girlies, but for the women who are building a business that is in design, that is a creative business, I know we kind of made a list of things to talk about. And I always love hearing how artists and designers overcome those creative blocks. And so I would love if you have strategies for that. I might steal some of your strategies, but how you overcome blocks. And then within that, also where inspiration comes from, or like if you're not being inspired by something, how are you overcoming that? How are you finding something to be inspired by, even if you're not feeling inspired by anything?
I love this question. Oh, there's so many ways you can be inspired. I, like you, Teresa, were kind of saying I listened to your other podcast episode where you just want to have a day to like do a spa day and just like give yourself time. Like, I feel like that is the best method to get out of a creative block. Like just give yourself time away to not think. And then all these ideas come flooding in. Like most of the time, my best ideas come from just like taking a shower and I'm just in the shower, not really thinking about anything. And then all of a sudden, all these ideas pop up. So I would say, number one, give yourself time to do something else. A lot of times I'll take my dog for a walk in the middle of the day just to like get away from the computer, get away from everything, listen to nature, and then ideas pop up. So that is one of the ways I handle creative block. Another way, it doesn't have to be specifically for design, but I do a lot of like brain dumps. And then for the designers, if you want, try a different medium of art. So like I do embroidery. So I'll start like doing embroidery and just like getting your body doing something creative in a different way. It helps you creatively to think in a different way. I love talking about creativity because I think it's so interesting. I read a lot of books on it. It's really amazing how like you can have an idea and then it goes away and then someone comes up and they have an idea that was very similar to you. Like I feel like it's like an entity that just kind of like floats around. So I don't know. I think if you're in a creative block, like try doing something else, moving your body, try doing like a brain dump to get everything out of your mind and onto a piece of paper or onto like a Word doc. And then that kind of frees up your mind. And then instead of being on the computer, try to use a different medium of creativity, whatever that is.
I don't know if other people see something specific when you think of like a creative block or writer's block, but I swear I just see like a huge white block and that's all that exists. Like there's nothing around it. Like I don't see any words. It's just like, why is nothing coming to me? And when you were talking, I was kind of visualizing that and thinking to myself, maybe it's not a block, but it's just a canvas. And like, you just have to get the first splash of color on it. Whether somebody else is doing it or you're doing it, like maybe you're listening to a podcast. Because I get this too when you were talking. I'm like, I get this too for this podcast. I get this when I'm creating content. And it's when I'm working too much and that's all I'm thinking about, that I stop having a flow of ideas. I'm not going on walks. I'm not scheduling that time out. I'm just in the work. So I don't have any almost like space to be inspired. And one thing that I think too is like the more I binge or watch Netflix, the worse my ideas or blocks are. But if I'm listening to like certain podcasts where people are like having conversations like this, they're talking about what inspires them, they're talking about their experiences. That's usually when I'm like, oh, I have to stop this podcast and start recording my own right away, because it triggers those ideas. It's like the first drop of paint on the canvas and I can just like build off of it.
Yeah, I love that you're bringing up that analogy because I feel like, especially for artists, like looking at a blank canvas can be so intimidating. And that's why I'm saying, like, do a brain dump, because sometimes, like, even if you're a writer or, you're writing down for a podcast or whatever, and you have just like a blank page, and like you said, it's just like a white block. Even if you're just like brain dumping anything, like what you want to do for the week, it's just like getting your thoughts out somewhere. So it gives your brain some space. And it's like the same thing for going for a walk or whatever. It's like you're just focused on that one task. So that way your brain can focus on other things and it just kind of wanders a little bit, which brings back the creativity.
One other thing I really want to know, because you, I feel like, are in the know. So I want to know, what trends are you seeing? Like, what is up and coming that you're working on or you're incorporating into your work, or seeing other designers start to incorporate? I feel like you're like ground level for like trends and things coming up, and I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I provide my clients is trending art. So yeah, I actually am seeing a lot of quilting, and I was doing a little bit of research. So as far as research on my end, a good place to look is like Trend Bible, WGSN. Etsy has a lot of good trend research based on what they're seeing is selling or people are searching on their site. And then the same with Pinterest. Some of these services are really expensive, like WGSN and Trend Bible, but you can catch little breadcrumbs and things from newsletters and stuff like that. And then as well as like, I look at trends as far as like what's going on in the world. Like for instance, Beyonce and Taylor Swift, like now the friendship bracelets are blowing out of the water, cowboy trend is on trend with Beyonce and disco. And so there's just like so much you can take from the world as far as trends. But one trend that I am really loving and I'm seeing everywhere is this quilt trend. And it looks like it's coming out of Gen Z kind of having a cost of living crisis. So they're finding new ways to upcycle, reuse things, create patchwork or repair things. So I'm really loving that trend. I feel like it's like the next version of like this grandma core. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I feel like it's like part of that. And I'm really excited about it. So I actually kind of interpreted that. So one of my in the product design field is like how to upgrade things to make them feel new. And so Christmas is always hard to upgrade and make it feel new. So I actually did this little art collection for Christmas that was all like quilt inspired. So I have like little quilt shapes within it and everything. And also, like colors of the year, Pantone has like peach fuzz. So like incorporating that to make things feel fresh and new. But yes, the trend I'm loving right now is quilting and like the patchwork. I think it's so cute. And I told you I like to embroider, so it goes perfect with that.
No, my mom is going to love that. I definitely know what you're talking about, because I'm somebody who's like shop secondhand, like sustainable, slow fashion. Like I have a whole basket of things that I'm like, I just need to go to my mom's house and like use her sewing machine and like upcycle these. But I think that it's like one of those where it went from a little bit of the maybe like sustainability side of the world into a little bit more mainstream, where now it is like all of the like jackets that are made out of old blankets and quilts. Like I'm living for all of that content.
So cute. Yeah. And also, like, trends are always like, if it's mainstream, the trend is already a few years
Yeah.
like back. So you'll see it even more in the next coming years, which is kind of interesting.
And I love too, I hadn't really thought about this specifically, but like what you're saying, where it's like, okay, what is happening not in the art world? Like what's happening in pop culture that we can make art about? So, like you said, Beyonce and Taylor
Yeah.
Swift. And I'm like, oh, yeah, all of these people that are now getting into like sewing and upcycling. Like, let's take that and make it into like digital art, digital representations as well.
Yeah, and it's really fun because you can interpret that style into your own art. I think that's the biggest thing is for artists is that you see what other people are doing and you're like, "Oh, I want to create that." And you can easily become trapped in copying people or, looking like other people's work when if you just look at the world around you and look at what's trending, you can kind of make your own style and make your own interpretation on what that looks like. And I find that really fun to do.
Well, Holly, what are you currently obsessed with?
Okay, so when I sent you my list, I had a few things. Some on the business side and then things I like to snack on. So the quilt trend was what I was currently obsessed with. And then on the business side, I'm currently obsessed with HoneyBook. I actually was referred to by our mastermind group to HoneyBook, and I'm obsessed with it. I feel like it is streamlined my process for my clients and everything. I love the invoicing and the contracts in there that I could just sign and it's like a seamless workflow. So loving that. And then the other thing I'm obsessed with, which kind of comes back to the balance, is the rule of 3, which is really thinking about your day in 3 and then your week in 3. So like, what are your big wins for the day? So usually I write a to-do list every day and I think about the 3 big things because if you start to drill down and like look at emails, look at this thing, it's like so monotonous. And if you just write your 3 big things for the day down and you get those done without like looking at those 5 emails, like you did it. You're good. You got your 3 things down. You got your 3 goals for the week down. It's a lot easier to think that way. And just psychologically, I think there's a book, The Productivity Project by Chris Bailey, and he talks about the rule of 3 and how you can even further think about it with goals and everything. And you can separate it out with like work, life, business. So I use that all the time. So that way I don't get like so focused in on the weeds. And then as far as snacks I'm obsessed with, my current favorite snack is the brown sugar honey twist pretzels from Dots. They are amazing. They are so good. A few years ago, the Dots pretzels, like the seasoned ones, they were like really popular. I've tried the regular season, but I didn't know they had these brown sugar ones and they are so good. They're like a little dessert. And I also like the Fruit Riot. It's like frozen fruit, but it has like a sour sugar coating. So good.
I have not heard of those, but I have been, even through the winter, I have been like a real fruit popsicle girl. Like my partner gets them. I don't even know what brand it is, but it is like real fruit and they're popsicles. But it's really funny because I would just have the orange ones and I was like, this is great. And then I tried like the watermelon and the lime and the raspberry and I was like, oh no, this is all like actually real fruit because each of them has like a different texture, a different hardness. Like some of them like melt so that you can actually like, not just have to bite into it. And some of them don't. And then like the raspberry one, my teeth are not strong enough to handle like the hardness and the coldness of them. But it's so funny because I'm like, I never knew there was so much to real fruit popsicles. And now I'm in.
Oh, yeah, they are good.
So good. And I'm a chocolate pretzel girl.
Ooh, I love chocolate pretzels too. Those are like my favorite.
Well, I'm going to have to hop off and go get me some pretzels and popsicles now. But before we go, how can people connect with you and work with you?
Sure. You can find me at holleyannedesignco.com or Instagram at Hollei Anne, and my name is spelled Hollei and Anne. My name is spelled different, I know.
We will definitely add it to the show notes. And everybody, you need to go follow Hollei because she seriously posts the cutest patterns, designs, product mock-ups, and I am living for them. So thank you for joining us. It was so fun to chat. Now let's go get obsessed. A huge theme in my conversations and coaching calls with business owners is shedding your shoulds, clearing your mental load of the hundreds and hundreds of shoulds so that you can limit your decision fatigue and spend your energy where it really counts. So if you're finding yourself in this never-ending cycle of thinking, I should post more, I should work out more, I should go to more networking events and call my friends more, I want to help you break the cycle. Let's sit down for a 15-minute chat, completely free, and I'll help you shed 3 major shoulds from your mental load. Just click the link in the show notes to schedule your virtual hangout. And a huge thank you to everyone who makes this podcast happen, my amazing team at Sleeked Marketing, and the incredible women at Fast Forward Productions. Now let's go get obsessed.